Keegark since the Uprising had started. For all anybody knew, she could have been destroyed in the fighting before the Bork Residency fell. "All right, we have her spotted. We're going to open up on her," the voice from the Gaucho announced. "She has two 90s to our one. We'll try to disable them first." The vision screen lit with the indirect glare of the gun flash, and the image in it jiggled violently as the ship shook to the recoil, then steadied again, with the enemy ship visible in the middle of it, growing larger and larger as the Gaucho rushed toward her. The gun fired again and again, flooding the screen with momentary yellow light and disturbing the image as the recoil shook the gun cutter. The enemy ship began firing in reply. The shots were all wide misses. Apparently, the geek gun crew didn't know how to synchronize the radar sights and were ignorant of the correct setting for the proximity fuses. The Gaucho searchlights came on, bathing her quarry in light. It was the Jan Smuts. The name and the figurehead bust of the old soldier-philosopher were plainly visible. Her forward gun had been knocked out, and she was trying to swing about to get a field of fire for her stern gun. "We're going to give her a rocket salvo," the voice said. "Watch this, now." The rockets leaped forward from the topside racks, 4 and 4 and 4 and 4, at half-second intervals. The first 4 hit the Smuts amidships and low, exploding with a flare that grew before it could die away as the second 4 landed. Nobody ever saw the third and fourth 4 land. The Jan Smuts vanished in a blaze of light that blinded everybody in the room. When they could see again, after some 30 seconds, the screen was dark. In the direct vision screen from the Sky Spy, the whole countryside of the Konk Valley, 500 miles north of Konkrook, was lighted. The heat and radiation detectors were going insane. And in the shifting confusion on the radar screen, there was no trace either of the Jan Smuts or the Gaucho. "Well, the geeks did have an A-bomb," the Mysticles Msangwi said at length. "I've been trying to kid myself that we were just preparing against a 1,000,000 to 1 chance. I wonder how many more they have." "Paula, find out who was in command of the Gaucho. He'd be a junior grade lieutenant. Fix up orders promoting him to Navy captain as of now. It's probably the only thing we can do for him, any more. And promotions of the same order for everybody else aboard that cutter. Authority Carlos von Schlichten, acting Governor General." He picked up a phone. "Get me Commander Prinsloo, on Aldebaran." He ordered Prinsloo to launch airboats and make a search, cautioned him to be careful of radiation, but to take no chances on any of the Gaucho's complement being still alive and in need of help. While that was going on, the Sky Spy reported another ship coming over her horizon to the east from the direction of Bork. That would be the Paul Kruger. Hargreaves had already learned of the advent of the second freighter. He was unwilling to take the Procyon off her station until the Aldebaran returned from the Konk Valley. In this, von Schlichten concurred. Somebody suggested that a drink would be in order. They had just watched the all but certain death of 3 Terran officers, 15 Terran airmen, and 10 Kragans, but they had all been living in too close companionship with death in the past 3 days, or was it 3 centuries, to be too deeply affected. And they had also watched, at least for a day or so, the removal of the threat that had hung over their heads, and they had seen proof that they had a defense against King Orgzil's bombs. They were still mixing cocktails when Pickering phoned in. "Some good news, General, from Operation Hildegard. We ought to have at least 1 bomb ready to drop by 1500 tomorrow, 4 or 5 more by next midnight," he said. "We don't need to have cases cast. We got our dimensions decided, and we find that there are a lot of big, empty liquid oxygen flasks, or tanks, rather, at the spaceport that'll accommodate everything: fissionables, explosive charges, tampers, detonator, and all. Well, go ahead with it. Make up a few of them, as many as you can between now and 2400 Sunday." He thought for a moment. "Don't waste time on those practice bombs I mentioned. We'll make a practice drop with a live bomb. And don't throw away the design for the cast case. We may need that later on." End of chapter 14. Reading by Acacia Wood.